Hey guys, Chain Gear here, back with another video, and today it is GearCast episode 7, and we are getting right into things. Today we're going to talk about PSX, which is PlayStation Experience, a huge conference that goes on all about PlayStation. It's not about Xbox, it's not about Nintendo, it's not about any other company out there, it's all about PlayStation. And then we're also going to talk about the Game of the Year, the VGAs, the Video Game Awards, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that happened there. We're going to do things a little bit differently. No releases this next week, guys. The only thing coming out is King's Quest Chapter 2, so if you're interested in that, go ahead and check it out. Is that what it's called, King's Quest? Is that right?
Yeah, the episode free if you're a PlayStation Plus subscriber. Hi, everybody.
There you go. Yeah, of course, we have Vampire Peaches here as the co-host of Chain Gear Gaming's GearCast. And like I said, we're here with episode 7. So let's just jump right into things. Today, I'm actually using IGN's article. I just want to give full disclosure. I am on IGN.com, and they have an article that's called Sony's PlayStation Experience 2015 Conference, Every Big Announcement and Trailer. And this was an easy...
I have polygons up right now because I lost my notes, too.
Yeah, so I mean, we have, these are really great, succinct notes. If anybody's interested, go ahead and just type in PlayStation Experience, and you can find some of these notes, whether, again, I'm on IGN, and Vampire Peaches is on a Polygon, another, tech, or another YouTube, I almost said tech and YouTube, another video game website where you can kind of check things out, video game media website. So let's just start with what PlayStation Experience is. Like I mentioned before, it's a conference just like E3 or Gamescom or CES even. These are all conferences that have to do with different things. Of course, E3 being the big video game one where Microsoft and Nintendo and Sony all come together and they have their own press conferences where they talk about new games, new hardware, and all that stuff coming out. Other big publishers also come up on stage like EA and Ubisoft, and last year they had some other guys come up, but PlayStation Experience is all about PlayStation. They talk about PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 2, which we'll get into, the PlayStation VR, the Vita, stuff like that. All those games, all of those developers and stuff like that. So it should be really, really exciting to get to talk about this. And Peaches, correct me if I'm wrong, but it started last year, correct?
Yes, so this PSX would be the second one ever.
Yeah, second annual PSX, and that's really, really awesome. And so we, Peaches and I both watched, Peaches, you said you really watched the whole thing. I looked at the highlights and stuff. I was not in town that weekend, and that's why you may see that there wasn't a GearCast last weekend. I wasn't in town, and this weekend we're kind of going over post-show what this all looks like. So let's just jump right into it and take a look at basically what happened. So we're not going to do a whole play-by-play, but basically the beginning of the conference, they did a huge sizzle reel, which is basically a huge trailer, which I did watch, which was kind of interesting. It had some old guy. Yeah, it was weird. It was definitely weird. Some old guy that was kind of like, back in my day, we had to go to the arcade, and we didn't have online video games, and that was...
Again, what I thought would be like an awesome PlayStation Legacy video, you know what I mean? Like showing the PS1 and the PS2 and stuff like that, but it's like this grumpy old guy going like, "Ooh, we had to put the quarter on the arcade slot and then we make our turn." And I'm like, what? And then Sean Layden came out and I was like, oh, hey buddy, but what the hell was that?
Yeah, it was definitely weird. I mean, it was entertaining. I mean, I thought after the initial, why is this old white dude here looking at me, talking to me? I was like, I don't understand what's going on. But otherwise, I thought it was pretty, entertaining afterwards. But after the sizzle reel, after that, which basically was just, again, a whole bunch of different games. They kept showing, montaging a whole bunch of different games and the random old guy. They gave another sneak peek at Uncharted 4.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and so basically it was, there were two big things about this. And actually, I'm going to let you talk about this, Peaches, because I know you really felt something about this. So why don't you go ahead and tell us what this was about?
Yeah, so for this reveal, it showed off the scene where Nathan Drake, of course the main character of the Uncharted series, reunites with a new character, his brother, who we've seen in other previews and other stuff like that. But this is them. You see Nathan Drake at a desk job. Chain Gear. That in itself is disturbing. You know what I mean? And it's very clear that he's very out of place. Like he's just had to settle down, and you see how uncomfortable he is and that sort of thing. But he reunites with Sam. He's like, "I thought you were dead," and it's so interesting to see Nathan Drake as a character. All of his emotional walls just like completely toppled over. No quirks, no witty comebacks, no sarcasm. Just like, oh my god! Like he sees like a piece of his family. Because if you played the other 3 Uncharted games, I'm not going to spoil anything. But we don't really know anything about Nathan Drake and who he really is. So seeing him reunite with a blood relative, it's like it was so jarring. And seeing them bond, and like then his brother's like, I've been hearing voiced by Troy Baker, by the way, who his character looks and sounds great. He's like, Drake, I've been hearing some really crazy stuff about you. And then came up a dialogue system, and you could pick what Nathan Drake can say, like a la Mass Effect style or like Fallout style. And I'm like, we have dialogue options? So I guess since they're setting us off, this is going to be the last Uncharted game, and we're saying goodbye to Nathan Drake. They're really going to hammer in like be a part of Nathan's story, like be involved with him, like and him talking and communicating with his characters from one last time. And I'm like, also the game is gorgeous. Oh my god, still so gorgeous.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree. It was pretty crazy. I mean, definitely pretty cool seeing Sam come in. And if you guys have seen anything about Uncharted 4, I mean, you've seen this character before, but you get to see kind of the initial reaction between the two of them seeing each other. And like Pete just said, you get to see Nathan, or Drake doing, just kind of sitting behind a desk. And so there's a lot of interesting pieces. And then the dialogue option really blew me away, which was interesting because it wasn't like, different, like it wasn't like negative or positive. It wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna be a jerk, or oh, I'm gonna be really nice, or it was just like, here are 3 different options, which is basically Uncharted 1, 2, and 3. Which
I'm just fine with, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to like change Nathan Drake's character. Let me pick dialogue options, but let me fit into his shoes. He's an important enough character to me that
whatever he talks about. I agree. I mean, who knows what it's going to look like in the total package, but it definitely was interesting to see the fact that dialogue options exist at all. And then, of course, at the very end, no spoilers, but a pretty big thing happened. So definitely watch this trailer if you guys haven't seen it already. Here, it's called Uncharted 4, Nathan Drake and his brother reunited. But I'm sure if you just type in Uncharted 4 new trailer, there were a couple of new trailers during PSX, so that was definitely interesting. So after that, let's see, the next big thing that happened was the new trailer for Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Before that, we saw a hilarious reel of a compilation of everyone's reactions to the Final Fantasy VII Remake reveal. Ooh. Everyone crying, everyone sobbing, and everyone freaking out, and then there's this guy at the end of the reel sobbing his face off. And Sean Layden, who was in a Crash Bandicoot shirt for no reason.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was pissed. I didn't really care, but like I was like, that's cute, but wow, you wore that shirt for no reason. You pulled a Battletoads, what Phil Spencer did, remember, like last year?
Yeah, I mean, that was a little bit different because they did the Rare. They actually, released the Rare replay.
Oh yeah, fair enough. But yeah, and then Sean Lane's like, oh, the guy in the last video, don't worry, we're gonna show you more stuff. And then the gameplay and cinematic trailer for Final Fantasy VII came up, and that's when Square Enix proved me wrong. I was like, Square Enix always announces games, and they never release any first-party games. We're not gonna see anything Final Fantasy VII related until like 2016 in winter at the latest. And then they're like, here you go, boom, Cloud, fully rendered. Look at all these scenes. Listen to the music. Look at everything. Look at gameplay. And I was like, oh my god, it was insane. It was
man. If anyone's interested in Final Fantasy, or especially Final Fantasy VII, obviously look at this trailer. It was awesome. Like, I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff going around this Final Fantasy VII Remake. It might be episodic, the new combat system, which is shown in the actual game, or this actual gameplay trailer. There's a lot of videos that show the original game side by side, or just kind of comparison between the new trailer, and it's just awesome. It is so cool. The
combat is just like the way it is in 15. I have no problems with it whatsoever.
Yeah, 15 in Crisis Core, it's supposed to be the most action-packed Final Fantasy game, or Square Enix game, that takes place in that kind of universe. So they were mentioning how comparatively to Dissidia is as action titles go for Final Fantasy. Dissidia is actually the least. Then Kingdom Hearts is the next one, and then Final Fantasy 15, and now this game, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. So Final Fantasy 7 Remake will be the most action-packed out of those action titles, and so that'll be really, really exciting.
You're going to be able to really interchange between characters, just like Final Fantasy 15. You're going to be able to have combo moves with them. You want to play as Barret and Tifa and Aerith. And
yeah,
oh,
it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. They're using Unreal Engine 4.
Huh?
They're using Unreal Engine 4. That was kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, it looks so gorgeous.
Yeah, for those that don't know, this is kind of a more nerdy thing, and I think they showed this at like 2 E3s ago or something. They showed Square Enix has their own engine that is supposed to be really great, top of the line, crazy particle effects that you would imagine in a Square Enix game, and they haven't actually made any games with it yet, as far as I remember. But none of their big first-party Square Enix games have been using this new engine. It's all been pushed over to the Unreal 4. For example, Kingdom Hearts is actually in Unreal 4. I could be wrong. 15, I think, is in Unreal 4, but it's possible that that is one of the only ones using the new engine, but I'm not 100% sure. But just an interesting piece of information. So after that, and of course, correct me if I'm wrong, Peaches, because you did actually watch the full thing. Final Fantasy VII, the normal, PS2 one. Yeah, PS1 game is now on PlayStation 4, which is a big deal. So
you can download it right now.
Yeah. So for those again that are interested in playing Final Fantasy VII, the original, it is now on PlayStation 4, ready to play if anyone's interested. So they mentioned that.
Holy crap!
With what?
With trophies.
Yeah, right. That's a good point. All of the well, we'll talk about some of the old games, other old games that are coming out, but right, Final Fantasy VII now has trophies and things like that. So if you want to replay it, get the trophies for it. That does exist. So the next thing that they talked about that I see that is of importance is the Call of Duty World League, which is a pretty big deal. It was already announced. Call of Duty World League is a big thing. We've already talked about it. We haven't necessarily talked about it on this show, but it's a bigger deal now because PlayStation is actually co-sponsoring it.
Insane.
Yeah, that's a big deal. I'm not surprised at all. There's been a lot of information going back and forth about how PlayStation, a lot of first-person shooter fans have been moving over from Xbox over to PlayStation 4, and I can only assume that is because of the pairing that they've had with Call of Duty and Activision. And so now that Activision and PlayStation are co-sponsoring the, I think, $3 million prize pool for the Call of Duty World League, that's a pretty big deal. That is a large deal. And so I think a lot of people are going to play more shooters and more of Call of Duty, of course, on PlayStation 4. So that'll be pretty exciting. And that was
already the case, frankly. But like again, it just really solidifies like our partnership with Activision and like just seeing how large PlayStation has become, like just immediately as the generation turned around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
We have a 30-day exclusivity with the first DLC map pack for those who are excited about that. Whereas Xbox had it for Advanced Warfare, now we have a 30-day exclusivity with the first DLC package. Yeah,
Awakening map pack. Not something I'm super interested in, but it's coming in 2016. So the next thing is a little bit smaller. For those that don't know, one of my most exciting, I'm super excited for this game. Actually, I have a video up already called The Hype Train, and I just started doing this series, and I will be coming back to it because I love the series so much. And basically, it's just me doing videos about games that I'm hyped about. And one of the games that I already started with is Overwatch, and a very similar game called Battleborn is coming out, and there's already been a lot of information about it. I've talked about it on the show before. I've talked about it on this channel. Say it again?
You skipped one. Ono-san came out and they talked about the new character in Street Fighter V.
They say that that's afterwards, so we may have a different thing here. But IGN says that this came first.
Yeah, we can talk about Battleborn.
Yeah, I don't know, and it just says that up next, Randy Pitchford came out. So anyway.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of Randy Pitchford and Gearbox, Battleborn is this new game that's coming out, I believe, in 2016, and it's going to be awesome. And it's basically this MOBA-type shooter, and I don't want to get too much into it because I've talked about it before, and I will be doing a hype train video on on Battleborn. Super excited to talk about that. But basically, they talked about a new character, which is hysterical. Watch this trailer. It's a penguin driving a mech suit. And it's awesome. And he's like, oh yeah, let's win the game with teamwork, friendship, and rivers of blood. And it's just a killer penguin basically in a giant mech suit, and it looks awesome. Honestly, Battleborn looks like a ton of fun, and the fact that they just kind of introduced another character. They also mentioned that the PS4 open beta is going to happen soon, and that Toby, the penguin driving mech suit, will be in it as well. And on that note, actually, why don't you talk about the next thing? So why don't you talk about Street Fighter V?
Yeah, and then Ono-san, like the director of Street Fighter V, came out in a little Ryu headband and gloves, and waffled on about like, hey, we finally have a character. We're gonna show the last character reveal because it has been leaked, so we can reveal it. And I was like, okay, cool. And then they showed the trailer for Fang or Fong. I don't know how to say it, but he has kind of like a shadow drunken boxing kind of style to him, and he looks really, really, really cool. And then Gio Corsi tried to come on stage and get his segment ready for. Even before that, he showed off the characters coming up as a part of the season pass that can also be earned for free, which include Guile and some other characters and stuff like that. It's a little weird to me that Guile's not included in the initial roster, seeing as how he was always in the initial roster since the original Street Fighter. But again, I'm not too integrated with that fan base, so maybe I know nothing. But then Gio Corsi was like, okay, it's my turn, go away. And then we got to talk about Vita stuff and some of the third-party stuff. Yeah. So they talked about the Street Fighter stuff. Definitely was pretty exciting, especially for those that are interested in Street Fighter and the fighting games universe out there. But they talked about a couple games that I'm not going to go too far in depth to because I don't think it is going to be that interesting to our audience here. But they talked about Dead Star, which is say it again. Awesome.
Yeah, I mean, definitely not a game I don't think I'll play or put a lot of time into. It's basically like you're flying around a little ship, it's top down, and you're just shooting stuff up and stuff. They're talking about a new mode in it. So that was interesting if that's the kind of stuff that you're into. They also talked about Adult Swim has 6 games that are coming out. Again, Peaches, let me know if I'm missing anything. But they talked about 6 games that are coming out in 2016. Death's Gambit, which looks awesome, by the way. It's basically, they mentioned this at E3, I believe, as well. But it's an indie game. All of these are indie games. And Death's Gambit is basically like Dark Souls, but 2D platformer style. And it's really cool. A lot of people have already given it pretty high praise, those who were able to play it. It's not out yet, I don't believe. But no, definitely not out yet. But it's they just they showed some more video footage of it, and that was pretty cool. Another game called Duck Game, Rain World, Raise the Dead, Small Radios, Big Televisions, which I think is actually the same game. Small Radios, Big Televisions, and then Double Fine's Headlander.
Yes.
Yeah, which is so. All those are fairly important titles. Death's Gambit is probably one of the bigger ones. It's probably they talked about that game for a while, and with its Dark Souls-esque, pretty difficult gameplay, I think people will really enjoy it. But they mentioned those coming to PlayStation 4, and I believe a lot of those are coming. If not all of them, a lot of them are coming to PlayStation Vita. This one's also probably more something that you might want to talk about. One of the games I know well, the other one I don't really know much. This is the Tim Schafer joined Corsi on and talked about.
Between the two of us, I'm the bigger Double Fine and Tim Schafer fan.
Definitely.
Fun fact, Double Fine is the company that I aspire to work for with character design and stuff like that. So fun fact about me. But yeah, they did talk about Headliner, which is something I'm really excited for. And then Tim Schafer hopped on stage. I was really excited to see him because, of course, he's going to talk about Day of the Tentacle Remastered. Oh, just, again, one of those, again, none of you are going to know what the heck this is. This is on the lines of Grim Fandango old PC games that maybe your dad's played on Windows 95, 99. But these are old like adventure games, where like point-and-click adventure games, explore your environment, talk to these really cool zany characters, which Tim Schafer was the master of back in the day. So again, Grim Fandango was one of my favorite games. Day of the Tentacle Remastered looks good, but something inside of me is like, I kind of miss like the pixely bit. So as is tradition with these Double Fine remasters, the original game is going to be packaged in with it, and you can switch back and forth between the classic visuals and the new remastered visuals. And then they announced Full Throttle Remastered, which is, I think this came out after Day of the Tentacle and before Grim Fandango, where again you play as an awesome badass motorcycle dude and go on adventures. It's awesome. Then they talked about Psychonauts and how they thanked us for like funding the sequel and everything. So the $2 million that they needed for Psychonauts 2. Again, Psychonauts, you probably seen the box art way back in the day when you were a kid, but again, it's a masterclass Tim Schafer RPG of a psychic that escapes the circus, and he goes to a summer camp for psychics, and it's hilarious and it's amazing. And if it ever comes on PSN, like as a classic PS2 title, I would love to play it again. But they announced that Psychonauts is also getting a PlayStation VR exclusive game called In the Rhombus of Ruin.
Yeah, that was now I don't really know the other games, Day of the Tentacle or Full Throttle, but I know Psychonauts. Like I played Psychonauts, I know that game.
So good.
And when they did the weird, like all of a sudden he had VR, you know, the PlayStation VR headset on, I was like, what? What's happening?
Let me be completely honest. I thought they were gonna be like, oh, by the way, Psychonauts is also being remastered, or it's like being put on with trophies, like on PSN. That's what I thought it was leading up to. But there was like VR, and I was like, oh, yay.
Yeah, I don't know what the game is. You know what I mean? Like it's a third-person action game. Or a third-person adventure game, I guess you could say. And it's like, how are you doing that in VR? I have no idea. Maybe they're just gonna like throw some story elements in there and like do some interesting stuff. But
some weird like manipulation because you're a psychic, just throwing objects around or like manipulating people in puzzles and stuff like that. But again, Double Fine, they always think outside the box, so we can expect something really fun.
Yeah, so that will definitely be interesting. So for the Psychonauts fans out there, for people who are interested in Psychonauts, definitely go ahead and take a look at that and a look at some of the trailers out there for those. The next thing was, and I'm kind of surprised that they did a trailer for this, but it was Don't Starve Together, the console edition for PS4, which was already kind of slated to come out. So, I mean, that wasn't like a huge shocker. But if those that don't know, Don't Starve, which was free on PlayStation Plus, I think, at one point.
At the very beginning, it was one of the first games.
Yeah, that's definitely why I have it. And so now...
Fantastic game.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a great game. And now they have Don't Starve Together. So now basically this co-op adventure for Don't Starve, which is going to be pretty awesome.
After a Reign of Giants.
Yeah, so that'll be pretty awesome. I'm not sure if they're actually selling it as an expansion or if you have to go buy this brand new game. Do you know?
That's how it was. It was sold on PC as an expansion.
Yeah, we'll see. Just because it says console edition, and so we'll see how that works. But I would definitely play this game for co-op. I
think Reign of Giants. They had a Reign of Giants console edition, but it just served as an expansion for. And these expansions are typically really cheap, and they have a crap ton of content.
We'll see. We'll definitely see how it goes because I really enjoyed Don't Starve. Yeah. So aside from Don't Starve, again, another game that you guys should definitely check out if you haven't already. It's a PlayStation 4 game. I believe it's also on PS Vita. Is that correct?
That's where I play it the most.
Yeah. Okay. So there's also they discussed apparently Hitman Go is now on PS4 and Vita.
And Zodiac Arcanon Odyssey.
Oh, right. Good point. Yeah, so this is another, I believe this is an indie title, though. This Zodiac Orcanon Odyssey will be on PS4 and Vita. Art style looks beautiful and things like that, kind of like watercolor looking stuff. And it's like an RPG, but it's like 2D, again, side-scroller-ish kind of game. Check it out if you're interested. Again, I don't necessarily think this is a game for our audiences here, but definitely a game that I think people will be interested in. So definitely check that out if it's something you think you might be interested in. Otherwise, the appearance of Hitman Go on the PlayStation 4. Yeah, I'm also very surprised. I'm excited though. I love Hitman Go. I got Hitman Go on Humble Bundle one time. If you're interested in knowing what Humble Bundle is, it's a sales site. Go ahead and let me know in the comment section below if you're interested in what it is, and I'll let you guys know. It's definitely worth checking out. But I got it on Humble Bundle for Android, and I got it, and I love it. I played at least.
Vita. Oh yeah.
Yeah, now I'm definitely gonna get it on Vita. It's definitely a handheld game. You could play it on PS4, but it'd be kind of pointless. Not pointless, but.
If I actually got this on Vita?
Say it again.
So would you say I would have a better experience if I actually got it on Vita?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Well, I don't know if a better experience. It would just be kind of like you'd have. It's like playing chess, or like a really small form of chess, like, or tic-tac-toe. Put it that way. It's like playing tic-tac-toe on a giant like screen. Like, why would you do that? Like, you know. So I think playing it on. I think tactics games have a tendency to be pretty fun on handhelds and things like that because you don't need to be sitting down in one place. You can walk around and move around while it's not a high action or anything like that. You can plan, and you know, if you're on a bus or if you're on a train or even if you're just not at home, you can just kind of sit down.
The app itself, I would assume it's much better when you have it on the go. It's something that you can easily play and take out when you have some time to kill.
Yeah, definitely. So Hitman Go is a great game. Definitely check that out. They also talked about Brawlhalla for PlayStation 4, and that's awesome. And it has exclusive content apparently for PlayStation 4. Did you see the exclusive content for PS4, or what it was?
The Brawlhalla. It was like a. I don't know if it was a character. I don't remember at all. Again,
I really want to know what that is. So Brawlhalla is basically a clone of, and I say that in the nicest way possible. It's a clone of Smash Bros. There are a couple of clones out there, but there are a ton of great ones, and there are about 2 or 3 really good ones, and this is one of them. Now it's not released yet, but a lot of people are giving it a lot of praise, and so this is going to be really exciting. I know I'm definitely going to get it after the failure that was PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. Not that it was a terrible game. I don't believe that at all.
Not to say it was a bad game. We had a lot of fun playing that game.
Yeah, but it was definitely a failure. I mean, a lot of people didn't play it. They lost a lot of money. So, you know, that was the thing. But, you know, this game, I think, is going to kind of take the place of it. These indie games, I think, are going to be where you're going to find your hardcore brawler audience, brawlers, and again, Smash Bros. So Brawlhalla coming on PS4 and having exclusive content, hopefully PlayStation-oriented content, will be pretty cool. They also mentioned that Yakuza...
For a fact that you'd be beyond the scale of excited for.
Are you talking about Yakuza?
Yeah.
Well, Yakuza 5 was announced, or not announced, but they talked about the release date being, I think it was that day or something, but it was the 8th, so it was 2 days ago. We're recording this on the 10th. But yeah, it was released on the 8th, which is not happy for me because I don't want to play it on PlayStation 3. So that was annoying.
Oh yeah, it is only on PlayStation 3, isn't it?
Yeah, and then they talked about what I'm more interested in, which is Yakuza 0 on PlayStation 4. And Yakuza 0 is the game that everyone should play. Yakuza 4...
Remember, I always used to watch you play these Yakuza games, and I really want to get into it, but you told me the story was really intricate with the installment, so pitch Yakuza 0 to me and us that don't know what Yakuza is.
Yeah, I mean, Yakuza is an awesome... I mean, if you don't know what the Yakuza is anyway, it's basically, and this is probably racist to some degree, and I apologize if it is, but it's basically Japanese mafia. Yeah, Japanese mafia. And so it's awesome, though. This game is awesome because it talks about all of the intricacies of the culture, the Japanese culture, and it's kind of the GTA before GTA is what it is now. So there's all these things you can do in it. You can, like, go play a ton of mini games, and you can go to, like, yeah, definitely. It's open world. It takes place in different cities of Japan, some pretty popular cities of Japan, towns in Japan, and that's awesome. And it goes through these different characters. And Yakuza 4 was the one I really got into. I played Yakuza 3, then I got Yakuza 4, and then I looked into Yakuza 1 and 2, but they're old, so I just didn't get into it. Yakuza 4 had a spin-off called Yakuza Dead Souls, and it was basically, yeah, it was basically a weird, like, they gave all the Yakuza members the Yakuza characters guns, and then it was a zombie game, and it was basically just really weird. And then Yakuza 5 is now out for PlayStation 3, basically for the Eastern users, the users in Asia, because there's a lot of them are still on PS3 and will buy the game. But I know I won't because it's on PlayStation 3, and I wish that they had ported it over to PS4. But that is very difficult because Yakuza is a very demanding game. It's oh, by the way, didn't mention the core gameplay element is actually combat. It's a fighting game, kind of. It's like it's not like 2D, like I don't know how to explain it.
Is it like Sleeping Dogs?
Yeah, it's like a more intricate combo-based Sleeping Dogs. Not a brawler, but it's more like Sleeping Dogs, but more intricate in the combat. So Sleeping Dogs is more like fast-paced, like run around, counter-based combat. This is more like combo, dodge. Kind of imagine if you could move around a lot more in Soul Calibur, and you were using your fists.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it was, or move around a lot more in Tekken. I love the game a lot. One of the only really long games like that I've beaten on PlayStation 3. I was really interested in it. I really liked it, and I beat it. I love the story. And so Yakuza 0 is the prequel to all Yakuzas, and that is going to be awesome. So anyone they're basically setting you up. Like, when you get a PS4, if you have a PS4, start playing this brand new series or this old series, Yakuza, and start with Yakuza 0. And then, maybe they'll start making new Yakuzas or something like that.
When is Yakuza 0 coming out?
Yakuza 0?
Yeah.
Good question. I will look that up for you as we go on to the next portion, which is SNK released two different things. Why don't you go ahead and talk about those?
Okay, so SNK finally revealed they released Last Blade 2 and the PS4 exclusive release of King of Fighters 14.
Yeah. What? I'm sorry.
Hold on. Okay, why don't you go first?
No. I just, that really threw me off. PlayStation is really securing their spot in gaming by, first of all, spending a ton of money, minimum of $1.5 million for Call of Duty, minimum. We know it's more than that, but they're spending a ton of money to secure the shooter spot. So being like, we are the premier console for you to come over to if you want to play shooters. And now they're also doing the same thing for fighters. So, like, Street Fighter 4, or 5, sorry, is exclusive to PC and PS4, not on Xbox One at all, not on Nintendo consoles at all. That's a huge deal. That's crazy.
That's a huge deal.
And trust me, it will only be on PS4 because they funded it. They gave them money. So that means that, like, it's going to be on PS4. And now King of Fighters, another game, another big, and it's not nearly as big as Mortal Kombat or as
more like a cult fighter.
Yeah, it's yeah. I mean, it used to be pretty big. They had, for example, they had Capcom versus SNK. That was a pretty big deal. SNK used to be a really big franchise, or used to be a really big company, and made a whole bunch of fighting games actually. And King of Fighters was their biggest, and it just hasn't really held a lot of weight. And now this another big fighting game exclusive to the PlayStation, and the like Japanese fighting games like Guilty Gear or Blaze Blue, I believe that they're also on Xbox. I know they're on PC, but basically everyone plays them on PlayStation. So these are some really big. It's a pretty big deal that all these fighting games are on PlayStation now. We're starting to see a huge shift in what types of games are on PlayStation. Sorry, go ahead.
No, it's a big deal. I'm just surprised. I was just like, wow, this definitely isn't, just graphically, it's definitely not up to par with some of these other fighters, but I was like, well, exclusive, that is a big deal.
Yeah, definitely, I agree. So it seems like I cannot find the release for, I don't know why, the release of Yakuza. I tried to look at it all in a really fast way and it didn't work. Of Yakuza 0. The release of Yakuza 0 will be, it says December 5th, but that's not true. So who knows? Who knows when this is going to come out? I'll let you know when I know. But yeah, I'll probably definitely do some videos on it and stuff like that, because I'm actually really excited for that game. Just going back again to Yakuza 0. But yeah, so SNK talked about Last Blade 2, which is also another fighter from SNK that none of you have heard of. I haven't even heard of. So, you know, no worries on that one. And then a way bigger deal is King of Fighters 14 coming out. So this one is interesting because they mentioned this actually during E3, I believe, or there was a trailer for E3 and they kind of just swept it under the rug and didn't talk about it. But this is a game, yeah, a game that I'm really excited about, and there are now 2 trailers, and I think you guys are really going to enjoy it, because I think this is definitely way more up at least our alley, definitely, and hopefully your guys's as well. So Koei Tecmo, Koei Tecmo's Team Ninja, the guys that made the most recent game that they made was DMC.
Devil May Cry.
Yeah, DMC, Devil May Cry. So the new version of it. And I think they're Team Ninja. They're making something else too, aren't they? Are they? They're the ones making what's that game? The exclusive for. No, maybe that's not it. I was wrong. I'm wrong. Well, anyway, they're the ones that make all of the Dead or Alive games. Team Ninja, they make all the Dead or Alive. Yeah, and Ninja Gaiden, definitely. That's the big one, is Ninja Gaiden. And that's the one I just recently played. Yaiba Ninja Gaiden Z, which was actually a fairly good game. And Hyrule Warriors Legends for the 3DS at least. And Hyrule Warriors for the Wii U. I thought that they were also the one. Yeah, they also make Tokuden, which is basically a Monster Hunter clone. So there's some pretty big games that they've made recently, and so this is a very different style of game.
Ninja Gaiden had a baby with Demon Souls.
Yeah, probably Demon Souls. Definitely not Dark Souls. It's a little lighter than Dark Souls and stuff like that. So Nioh is basically, or Nioh, Nioh, is a game. It's an action game, very reminiscent of Ninja Gaiden. And I think it's basically a new PlayStation title that is you're a samurai, and the action is awesome. We don't really know much about the game besides the fact that you're a samurai and you're fighting other, like ninjas and samurai, and also pretty big demons. It seems like they keep hinting at these demons that you're going to fight, but the action looks awesome. And it looks a little bit, not harder, because Ninja Gaiden is historically extremely hard, besides the last one, because they tried to make it easier or something. And it's my favorite types of games are these action-oriented games. And with a little bit of difficulty in there that really makes you think and, take care of yourself, I'm really excited about. I'm not a huge fan of the Souls series, and that's because the action is a little too slow for me. I'm waiting a lot, and I don't really particularly like that. So games like this, where you're getting back into the action, more like a Platinum Games game, you're getting back into the action, I'm really excited for that. So Nioh, definitely look it up, Nioh. Please look it up. I might even do a hype train on this video, or this game, because that's definitely exciting. So the next game the next things that they announced was Bastion for Vita for $3.
Long time coming and only $3, right?
If you have a Vita, pick this game up now. Stop, pause this video. If you're watching this video, pause it. If you have a Vita, pause it and buy this game. If you didn't already buy it.
No, we're recording it live right now.
Awkward. Then grab your Vita and download it now. Seriously, Bastion is I completely forgot the developer. The same people that developed the Transistor, which is another one of my favorite games. Transistor, Bastion. I don't know why I can't think of their name. Supergiant. No, SCEA is Sony Computer Entertainment. But Supergiant is the one that developed the game. And this is awesome. This is a huge deal, because Bastion is awesome. It is on PlayStation 4, and if you can get on PS4, beat it, buy it and play it and beat it. I need to beat it. That's what I was saying. And if you haven't bought it, now you can for $3. So that's a big deal. Also, the BitTrip. If you guys know what that is, BitTrip is a company that makes games, and they make a lot of really unique, smaller games. I'm trying to see if I can pull up a list of some of the games that you guys may know. Bit Trip Runner is one of the games that they have that was on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, and that's definitely a big deal. And they also have a game called Flux, Fate, Void, Core, and Beat, apparently. That are what these games are called. But apparently you can get all of these games, and it only costs $10. So it's an HD package of these 6 games, and it's a $10 cross buy. So if you buy them all, you have them on all your consoles: PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation Vita. They also talked about Nuclear Throne, another it's an indie game, and it's a top-down game that looks a ton of fun. It's a twin-stick shooter where you're just running around as these crazy not nuclear, but like, I don't want to say abominations, but these creatures that look pretty crazy, and they have crazy guns. And it's basically a shoot 'em up, twin stick shoot 'em up. They also talked about a trailer of a game called Brutal, and it's based on some stuff that you guys probably don't know. But look up Brutal. Brutal is another game that looks awesome. It's a fantasy game, and it just looks awesome. I believe it's an action title. I'm not 100% sure. The trailer basically just showed what the game looks like and things like that. So definitely take a look at that. So another game, the next game that I want to talk about here is MLB The Show 16. Pretty big deal. If those who are interested in sports, not me, not Peaches, but for those that are interested in sports, this game is coming out March 29th.
I'm so excited.
Don't lie. Don't lie.
To recap before everything you just said, I'm excited. I can't believe all these games are actually on Vita. It was one of those available right now things. So yeah, MLB, it looks gorgeous. I don't care.
Right, yeah, definitely more excited for these smaller games. I mean, for $13, you can get 7 games that are all really, really awesome. All of Bit Trip's games, and then having Bastion, which is just, that's a really big one. That's a really, really great one. So yeah, MLB The Show is coming out. So if you're interested in MLB, it is coming out. No worries there. Which is a PlayStation exclusive. For those that don't know that, PlayStation holds the rights to make MLB games, Major League Baseball games. A game that I'm not super excited about, but they did talk about, was Guns Up. It's a free to play multiplayer strategy game.
I downloaded it anyway just to see what it was about.
Yeah, I mean, might as well, right? Definitely go ahead and check it out if you guys are interested. It's basically, it looks like a mobile game to me, and it doesn't seem like it was made for the PlayStation ground up or anything like that. What's
the point in what is this?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's supposed to be a casual game for those that want a free game and just want to play it every once in a while. But I didn't really seem. I mean, there are better games on iPhone and Android than this game, so I was a little surprised that they took the time to advertise it. That's what I was surprised about. More interesting, definitely more interesting to me at least, was which they announced this last year. I don't remember when. I don't remember if it was at E3 or last PSX. But they talked about the multiplayer co-op game, Fat Princess Adventure.
I'm pretty sure it was last PSX.
Yeah, it may have been. But for those that don't know, there's an awesome PlayStation 3 game called Fat Princess, and it's a MOBA, actually. Yeah, it's a MOBA without champions, basically, or without special characters, where you're trying to play capture the flag with princesses. Basically, you captured a princess, and they captured, and the other team, it's the red versus blue. So red has a princess, your princess, and blue has their princess, whatever. And you're feeding them cake to make sure that they get really fat, so it's really hard for the other team to go steal them and bring them back to your other base. So it's capture the flag with princesses.
Character classes to play as like the wizard and the brawler and the healer, like the priest, that sort of thing. And it's insane, bloody, cartoony, like it's it's just really funny.
Literally bloody. Like you would come around with you play as the warrior, with a sword, and you go around and you charge up your swing and you chop somebody's head off, and blood would go flying. And the game really was awesome. It was an awesome game, and now they're kind of changing it into, or at least maybe not changing it, but they're increasing the franchise by adding another game called Fat Princess Adventures, which is now this co-op adventure game. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about it. I'll be getting the game. I mean, I'll definitely be getting the game. I love Fat Princess. I love how fun it is and how whimsical it kind of is and comical. So it'll be fun to kind of play that, especially with a group, whether one or two other people. Say it again.
For the viewers that have never heard it before, can you give us your best cake for everyone King announcement?
Cake for everyone.
This is the game's tagline, and we just, it's just one of our dumb inside jokes that we just say randomly for no reason when we're out hanging out with friends.
Yeah, I've played that game. I've played Fat Princess the original a ton, and I would love to see a Fat Princess 2. And I know a lot of people would love to see a Fat Princess 2. One that makes more sense, one that is a bit more skill oriented, one that has maybe some champions or something in it. Just one that... Say it again?
Fatter princess.
Yeah, like a fat princess, get her fatter. I don't even know, yeah, like I just feel like that would be awesome, or even just a remaster. But I feel like they don't need to remaster it. I feel like just make a second one and add more content to it. So hopefully we'll see a Fat Princess 2 at some point. But Fat Princess Adventures is coming, or is actually out today, and I don't know how much it costs, but that came out. So then, say it again.
$20.
All right. Not too surprising. That's not surprising. So then, Ted Price, the president and CEO of Insomniac, came out and talked. Huh?
I knew what he was going to talk about.
Yeah, that was a pretty obvious one. Came out and basically talked about Ratchet and Clank, the new Ratchet and Clank game, and showed off gameplay footage and talked about how it will debut April 2nd on the big screen because its debut is April 2nd, and then its film adaptation, so the movie is April 28th. I will definitely be getting this game. I remember playing.
I think that if you're a PlayStation Plus member or whatever, you get to see the movie like 12 days early.
Huh. That would be cool.
Yeah, so if you look at before, like there's a certain deal. Like if you own a PS4, if you're a PlayStation Plus member, you do get to see the movie like 2 weeks early.
Like on PlayStation?
Yep.
Interesting. I wonder how they're. Yeah, I wonder how they're gonna do that. Especially if the game's going to be like or the movie's going to be a big like movie, like where they're putting it in all theaters. Like the fact that they're going to debut it early.
Like it's going to be in theaters, sure, but like just to make sure, like PlayStation fans, buy a ticket to see this movie. See the movie here.
Yeah. Maybe who knows?
They sell something.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll definitely be getting the game. I remember when I was really, really young, and the PS2. Was sitting in a Target or a Walmart, and it was definitely a Target, and I'd walk up to one and I would just kind of play the PS2, and Ratchet and Clank was the game that they were showing on these consoles when you went into the video game or electronics section.
The PlayStation straight up, along with Jack and Daxter, man. It's like Cooper.
Yeah, I mean, those three titles, but Ratchet and Clank was the one I'd always play, and seeing it in this new light, I definitely think I'll be playing, and I have a lot of friends that still love Ratchet and Clank and tell me to this day, they're like, yeah, I just remember playing PS2 and playing Ratchet and Clank, I really liked it, and so I definitely will be getting the game just because I'm excited to kind of revisit my childhood in a new game. Not revisit my childhood by playing a remaster, or again we've done a remaster, the whole video, our whole episode about remasters and remakes, and so it'll be nice to just play a new game. So aside from that, they talked a little bit more about VR. One of the first things that they talked about was this game where they threw discs like Tron. They threw these discs at each other.
Watch, like I felt so bad when his PlayStation Move remotes didn't work, so his arms were there on the module, and I was like, oh man.
Yeah, that was weird. Yeah, PlayStation always has a tendency to mess up a lot of random stuff, and this was probably their mess up here.
For once, it wasn't an Uncharted demo.
I mean, bigger mess ups than that, like Wonderbook.
Oh,
If you don't know what Wonderbook is,
Yeah. Look this up.
no, don't look it up. Don't look up Wonderbook. Don't do that. And if you do, you better not leave it in the comment section below, because I'll be mad at you. Seriously, don't look up Wonderbook. I'll kill you. I'm just kidding. I won't kill you. I'm not allowed to make it.
Return to PS4. I'm kidding. I'm completely kidding.
They completely just don't even talk about it. They don't even talk about it. Anyway, let's just ignore that one. So yeah, this whole disc throwing thing. They also talked about Res and Infinite. There was like a random, like this polygon character that's just flying around shooting laser beams.
Apparently, it's an older franchise that you and I don't know about, but the creator of the franchise was the guy in that vibro suit playing the game and stuff.
Yeah, I have no idea what it is. I never heard of it. So it probably was one of those random old games. But, I mean, whatever. More VR. Unfortunately, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, they didn't actually give us a date for VR or a price, right?
No.
And so that was disappointing. They just kind of showed, yeah, there's more VR stuff. And the more interesting one, after the failure of a disc throw and the, kind of random Res Infinite, was Eagle Flight, which is you're VR and you're an eagle. And you're flying around as an eagle. It's a Ubisoft game. And I think it's supposed to kind of take place in the Assassin's Creed kind of universe.
I was like, wow, finally I could be the eagle flying through all those trailers.
Yeah, I mean, which is awesome. I'm not going to lie. Like, I don't know how much it's going to cost.
We're going to get this on launch day, and we'll be like, yo, let's get on some Eagle Flight and let's fly around Paris.
Yeah, like, I don't know how much it's going to cost or if it's going to just be kind of a free application or what, but it definitely looks awesome. Like, just flying around as an eagle, like, is kind of what people want VR for, right? Is flying and going to the deep depths of the ocean, things that you can't usually or readily do. And so it'll be nice to kind of have that. And there was nice graphic fidelity was nice, and it looked awesome.
Hair, by the way, he looks great.
Again?
Shout out to Adam Boyce for looking great.
I didn't actually see. I didn't see what he looked like because I didn't watch that portion.
Got the thing going on.
Nice. So a more funnier, more interesting take on VR. Sony Santa Monica is making a VR game called Modern Zombie, which is basically Crazy Taxi, first person with zombies. If you guys haven't played Crazy Taxi, look it up. Another great classic on PlayStation, and actually a game that I'm pretty sure I also played at Target. But Crazy Taxi is a pretty awesome game, and just imagine yourself in a taxi, and you're actually driving around with zombies, because it's been years after the zombie apocalypse, and now all zombies apparently have brains, or they don't have brains, but they act normal.
Society has resurfaced, even though everyone's a zombie, and you're a taxi driver and you're basically causing mayhem for all these zombies. You're shoving them out the window, you're throwing stuff at them, and it looks hilarious.
Yeah, take a look at it. It's just a lot of nonsensical fun. Instead of trying to take VR as a really serious platform, this is going to be a more fun, family fun, friendly, whatever, game. And so definitely take a look at this. It's by Sony Santa Monica, so that'll be kind of interesting. Getting more on the intense side, or more serious side, was actually before the more serious side was Job Simulator.
Yeah, I think that's a demo that a lot of people played for VR in general, but that looks funny.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned before that I played Cooking Simulator, I think it was called, or something. Yeah, and so seeing Job Simulator, I mean, as long as we get all those simulator games, it's going to be awesome. Playing, if I can play, Surgeon Simulator. And if I can,
I'm going to have a heyday with that.
Right, all of those simulator games are going to be awesome. I mean, Job Simulator should be just as awesome as the other ones, and so that will be really awesome. So yeah, and then another one was Golem, or Gollum, or whatever.
That concept trailer winded me. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the game is going to be about or how it's going to play.
My guess is that the girl you're going to be the girl, obviously, and through her eyes, you're going to be controlling this golem with some sort of psychic power, exploring ruins of a city, maybe. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Definitely interesting. And they mentioned it was built from the bottom up for VR. And so that'll be awesome. Again, I don't know exactly what it is. It's by Highwire Games. It's a new developer, so we'll see how this game goes. Another one that we can kind of just go right through is 100-foot robot golf. That's
What?
That's hysterical. That's definitely going to be a self-esteem team game.
Yeah, definitely not a game that I'll be playing much of, but it's literally just 100-foot robots playing golf with giant, with buildings and in cities and stuff like that. Something I think that is definitely more interesting, but I don't know if it's a VR title or not. I don't think it is. It was just that Ace Combat is returning. Ace Combat 7.
What you didn't see is that when they were about to announce it, a guy in the front was screaming his head off in excitement because he knew it was Ace Combat, and Adam was like, "Yeah, this guy's excited."
Yeah, Ace Combat is one of those games that are like Gran Turismo. Not, hardcore shooter fans don't play Gran Turismo usually, but Gran Turismo is a system seller. Thousands and millions of people buy Gran Turismo because it is a premier AAA, one of the best racing simulators of all time.
I've sold my fair share of consoles with Gran Turismo.
Yeah, and so Ace Combat is basically the same thing, but for flying. So for like flying airships, flying airplanes and jets and stuff like that. And so Ace Combat is the flight sim, is PlayStation's Gran Turismo for flight simulators. And so Ace Combat is a really big deal, and it's making its comeback with Ace Combat 7. And so that was a big deal. It's not VR, right?
I honestly don't know. I don't think so.
All right, I'm not 100% sure either, but definitely something to look into. This next part, and of course, Adam Boyes was the one to announce it. He had to be the one to announce it.
With this.
And this is a big deal. I mean, a lot of people are really interested in this. For those that play Destiny or are still interested in getting Destiny: The Taken King, more content was announced. The Sparrow Racing League was announced, and the Sparrow is the vehicle that you obtain in the very beginning of the game that allows you to traverse the land, traverse the world of Destiny, the different planets that you're on. It's your
like in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah, it's basically pod racer. It's basically a pod racer. I mean, it looks cooler personally. I think it looks cooler than a pod racer because pod racers are weird looking. But it looks. I've watched it. I have not played it yet. I have it downloaded, and maybe I can do a video for if those are are interested.
Wow.
But right, they just have Sparrow Racing now, which is something that people have been doing in Halo games. They have the Warthog, for those that know Halo. They have the Warthog, and they would mod the game, and they would have Warthog Racing. So it's a big deal that they're actually paying attention to the community and saying, okay, let's add Sparrow Racing because we know people would do it if they had modding tools. So let's go ahead and do it ourselves. So that's awesome. Also, they mentioned having a live team. So Destiny now has a team literally called the Live Team that is there to make sure that Destiny stays relevant and they keep giving more content, which they could have used, a year ago. But I think they're doing it now because all of the DLC is basically over, I believe.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's not so much as focused on like these big epic expansions, but rather they're going to focus free big events.
Yeah, right. Keeping things for those that know MMOs, for those that play MMOs, you guys know that the games those game worlds are alive. You beat the game, you put tons of hours into the game, and you want to keep playing it. It's not that you want to stop, but you have to stop sometimes because there's not enough stuff. There's just not enough stuff in the game, and that's really unfortunate. And so the live team is making sure that there's more things happening in that game, and so I think that's going to be awesome. They also Runic Games. They showed Runic Games gameplay for Hob. Hob was announced a while back, like a year or two ago, I think.
I don't know that at all.
Yeah, they announced it a while ago. I remember seeing the graphic for the title, and now they have gameplay trailer. So that was pretty awesome. It's an adventure title, so definitely take a look at that. Puzzles and action, so take a look at that. And what I honestly thought was the best announcement of the entire thing.
I would agree. I would completely agree. Besides Final Fantasy VII gameplay trailer, whatever. In terms of announcements.
Nope. This was bigger for me. A game that I loved dearly on PlayStation 3, but did not continue playing it because it was on PlayStation 3 and I got a PS4. Ni no Kuni, a game by, or a game...
What?
What?
Level 5.
Oh yeah, I thought you said Double Fine. I was like, no. Yeah, a level 5 game, but it's the reason it was such a big deal is because it was worked on by Miyazaki, Hayao Miyazaki, the guy that created, and Studio Ghibli, the guys that make the now Disney movies, I believe, because I believe now they're owned by Disney. I can't remember. But the movies like Spirited Away, for those anime lovers out there, Spirited Away, Howl's Moving Castle, Castle in the Sky. What?
Ponyo and Kiki's Delivery.
Right, Ponyo, Kiki's Delivery Service. I'm trying to think of some of the more recent ones like Ponyo. But these games, or these movies, they created a game together with Level 5 called Ni no Kuni, and the art direction is phenomenal, beautiful. The story is beautiful, and just really, oh man, I love the game so much. And there's a sequel. So Ni no Kuni 2, Reverent Kingdom, huh?
Whole new cast of characters. You're gonna be playing as like a boy becoming king, and like all of his adventures that he has to go through in order to get to that. And it looks emotional. It looks beautiful. Like you know me, I'm always a fan of like this older style of like animation and anime. So like seeing like these characters are so beautifully classically designed.
Did you play Ni no Kuni 1?
Did I? No, but I sold. I'm literally not kidding. In my short time in video game retail, like the 2-3 years, I've sold a copy of Ni no Kuni every shift.
Wow, that's weird.
Oh yeah,
that's surprising. Pick up Ni no Kuni if you guys have a PlayStation 3. I don't know if it's on PlayStation Now, and honestly, I kind of doubt that it would be because it's a very, very long, large game.
Yeah, I don't think so.
But at least look it up. This looked the animation on this. Ni no Kuni was already amazing. Ni no Kuni 2's animation was phenomenal. I watched the trailer 5 times. I will be watching it another 5 times after this recording. It looks awesome. It looks beautiful, and I'm super excited for it. My number 1 announcement. And then my number 2 announcement was the reveal of Paragon. Now, Paragon is already a game that was announced before, but no one knew what it was. It was a game by Epic Games. That's all we knew. And usually Epic puts their games on Xbox with Unreal, on the Unreal Tournament. So this was kind of a big deal that Paragon, which is a MOBA by Epic Games, and it's an action title, so it's a third-person, real-time action game, MOBA by Epic Games, the guys that make Unreal. I mean, like Unreal Tournament, or what else does Epic even make? Why can't I think of it off the top of my head?
Gears of War.
Yeah, Gears of War, right? Gears of War. These are crazy third-person or first-person shooters and action titles are making a MOBA, and it looks awesome. Check out. There's 2 trailers. There is a not live action, but a cinematic trailer, and then there is a gameplay trailer. And it looks awesome. It looks awesome. I don't even know what else to say about it. Yeah.
What else to say about it? They closed with it, and it was like, really? Oh.
Yeah, big deal because Epic has never been on a PlayStation stage before, and it's the first time that they were on a PlayStation stage with Paragon. And it's a MOBA that will actually be with it will be cross. What is that called? Cross console or cross platform. So you can play it. Cross platform is usually what they say. But it will be cross server because it's cross platform, or maybe not cross server because it may be on the same server. Anyway, cross platform between PC. Yeah, well, cross platform between PC and PS4, and they did mention that hopefully at one point it'll all be together. And I can't tell necessarily what that meant. I don't know if this is a PlayStation exclusive for console or not, but they did basically mention that they want everything together. And I don't know if they mean Xbox or not. And I doubt it, just because Xbox, I'm sure, it doesn't like that kind of stuff. But we'll see what happens.
Actually, fun fact, when Rocket League is in fact going to be an Xbox One, and they refused to let it be cross-platform. They just negated the idea.
I'm sure Sony negated the idea as well. That's not a fun thing that they want to think about. And then I don't blame them. So that is PlayStation X, guys. That is PSX. That is PlayStation Experience. That was all of the announcements there. I could be missing some, but I don't think so.
No, you just missed the Battlefront highlight reel, which is whatever.
I mean, nothing. No announcements, right?
No.
Yeah, no announcements. So that was all the announcements. Definitely go ahead and look this stuff up. If you go on PlayStation's their channel, you'll see all of their trailers as well, all the trailers there, and they also have a whole bunch of like sit down interviews with a lot of those guys. So Peaches, why don't you tell me what your top 3 announcements were of the show?
My top 3 announcements, you know me, I'm a Double Fine fan, so obviously just knowing that Psychonauts 2 got its funding like immediately was awesome, and that Full Throttle is now going to be remastered and stuff like that. The Final Fantasy VII gameplay was absolutely freaking insane, and Ni no Kuni is finally something I'm really excited to get my hands in. Like, those 3 are what stick out in my head most when I think about this year's PSX. I'm kind of bummed about that because I was expecting, like, you know, some like big software stuff, maybe the next God of War, like some finite release dates and that sort of thing. But Sony has its gun loaded in its holster.
We'll talk about that before we go on to that. I'll talk about my top 3, which is Ni no Kuni is number 1, or Ni no Kuni 2 is my number 1. When I watched that, I was like, oh my god, looks beautiful! Can't wait to play it. Can't wait to actually sink the amount of hours that this is a game that you should buy for $60. It's way worth the price. It's probably worth $120, but it's
a trailer, dude.
I mean, the first game was, I don't know what they're going to do with this game, but the first game is definitely worth, I mean, it's about, and spoilers, because it's an old game now, and I don't think anyone's going to play it on PlayStation 3, but Ni no Kuni 1, again, spoilers, it's about a boy who loses his mother, and so he kind of goes into this world and to go find his mother. But she is dead, and it's very sad, but very inspirational and beautiful. And the voice acting is phenomenal, and again, the art is phenomenal. The gameplay is phenomenal. Everything about that game is really great. And so I really, the pacing could probably be a little bit faster for me because I like faster-paced games, but I really, really enjoyed it. Anyway, so unspoiler. Or stopping spoilers, whatever. Ni no Kuni 2 was my number 1. Paragon was my number 2. To actually see what the game was awesome. And then no announcements I was really excited about. Just seeing more stuff, like seeing Final Fantasy VII Remake, seeing the gameplay, or Uncharted 4, seeing more videos and stuff. And so that was the thing. But like you were saying, this was a bit of a disappointing PSX.
Yeah.
We thought we had come up with a pre-show and talked about some things that we thought we were going to see at PSX, and we didn't see a lot of that. One of the things I really thought we were going to see was a announcement for all the first-party studios, what they were working on, because all the major studios besides Naughty Dog and besides there's another one, Naughty Dog and Guerrilla Games. We don't know what the other studios are doing. We have no idea.
One-liner, hey, what's up? We're doing this.
And I'm not surprised that they're not doing it. And I'm also not surprised now that PSX is over and I'm learning more. I understand why, for example, there's no price or release date for PlayStation VR because it's not going to come out. It might come out, but the HTC Vive was just delayed. And so another piece of VR hardware. And so looking at these things, I can see why maybe they didn't announce some of these bigger things. They didn't announce any price cuts for the PlayStation 3 or the PS Vita. But like you had said, Sony, PlayStation has their gun loaded. They are ready. They have so much stuff that they could pull out for the next E3, which may seem like a long ways away, but it's not.
But here's the thing, because that's how it genuinely feels, right? It feels like, again, this long-going rivalry of like this big. Let's say that PS4 is Billy the Kid. This guy's killed dozens of bandits, dozens of banditos. Everyone loves him. He's going out to the field because his longtime rival is on the other side of the saloon. They got their gun. This guy, whatever it is that Xbox is going to shoot out, I feel like PlayStation is going to be like, yeah, by the way, we also got this, and then it's just going to be exposed because that was what Final Fantasy VII for last E3, right?
Yeah.
And The Last Guardian, and like that was a massive show. So like I just feel like they pulled back, and that's not what we wanted at a PSX because when we go to PSX, we expect like the stuff that PlayStation fans themselves want to see. We want to see all the first-party stuff that they can throw at us. We want like dates. We want releases. We want new stuff that PlayStation fans at their core will be excited about.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's more of a consumer show, though. So the people that go there, they get to experience a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Oh,
PlayStation
Show 4 was absolutely mental.
Yeah. And so I think that it's one of those things that they're saving all of that gold for a show that not everyone gets to go to and has a way bigger audience. One where they're going to be able to persuade Microsoft's audience. One where they're going to be able to persuade Nintendo's audience. Or persuade those that don't even know about this stuff. You know, like PlayStation Experience is probably not going to make it in mainstream news. But E3 does make it in mainstream news. It does. And so, you know, when they announce huge price drop or when they announce, oh, we've got 3 ridiculous titles. You guys have no idea. We have VR, and we also have the new whatever game from Sucker Punch. We also have the new whatever game from I can't even think of their studios now, but you know, there's going to be all these awesome games, and I just it's funny because this did not leave me upset. It was a little disappointing, but it left me hungry for E3. And that's what I'm excited for. And they've got it again because for those that know, it goes E3, Tokyo Game Show, Gamescom, or something like that. E3, Gamescom, Tokyo Game Show, I can't remember. But these conferences go back to back throughout the summer, and next summer is going to be a big one.
It's going to be a big one. Mental.
Yeah, and just for a bit of a sneak peek, for our Christmas episode, we will actually be going through our most anticipated games of next year, and so we will be talking about, you know, some games that we're hoping to see maybe, but of course games that we are going to see next year. So get ready for that. That's a pretty exciting one. So now that we've done this, you know how long it's been? You know how long it's been? It has a half an hour maybe.
We have a half hour left, yeah.
All right, cool. So we're gonna go into the next big event that happened the day before PlayStation Experience, and that was the Game Awards, which is not VGA. It's actually TGA, which is just the Game Awards, which is kind of lame. I thought it was the VGA, Video Game Awards. But anyway. Pretty big deal. Video Game Awards or Game Awards 2015. And this was a big deal. Let me read something to you from their website. Nominees for the Game Awards 2015 are selected by a jury of 30 international media. In some cases, the jury is provided advanced review code of upcoming games in order to meet the Game Awards 2015 judging deadlines. Games must have been commercially released by Tuesday, November 24th to be eligible for awards. Esports nominees were voted on by an advisory panel consisting of esports media and sites. So this is kind of a general. Now there is also fan choice as well, just so you guys are aware. But you know, this jury thing is is pretty big in media outlets, which, like for example, IGN, which is or Polygon or GameSpot. So these are pretty big, non-biased, as much as they can be, non-biased parties. And so this is kind of a big deal, definitely interesting. Not something that Peaches and I usually get into very much. No. We like to talk about our own game of the year, which we will do at the end of this podcast. But I did want to go through
the winners for this year, and then we'll get into our own.
Yeah, definitely. But there are a couple different sections that I wanted to go through before we actually hit Game of the Year.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with some of the more obscure ones. For example, Best Art Direction. So they have a definitely different. It's nice to see that people are taking games seriously, that we get our own reward show. So these were the nominees: Batman: Arkham Knight, Bloodborne, Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain, Ori and the Blind Forest, and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. For those that maybe haven't heard of Ori and the Blind Forest, this is a Microsoft game. It's by Moon Studios, but it was published by Microsoft, so it was only on Xbox. Mind you that Bloodborne was only on PS4. Otherwise, Batman Arkham Knight, MGS 5 Phantom Pain, and The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt are all multi-console. The winner was Ori and the Blind Forest. I like the fact that they did...
The winners then.
Say what?
I thought I was just going to read through the winners.
Oh, I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to go through the different ones to kind of get like a sense of what these are. And I kind of want to discuss it even a little bit in terms of like best art direction. I'm kind of surprised that they gave these ones, especially from Batman and Phantom Pain and The Witcher, are all kind of is just kind of realistic, is what it seemed like they were really going for, comparatively to Bloodborne and Ori. And I think there were also a lot more artistic games out there, so that was a little surprising. Yeah, it was a little surprising that these were the games that were chosen, but I'm glad that Ori and the Blind Forest won, because that definitely was...
surprised to see, like, what's a good way to word this? I was glad to see Bloodborne in that list, you know what I mean?
Agreed, definitely. So the next one is Best Multiplayer, and I also think this one was very interesting. The nominees were Call of Duty Black Ops 3, Destiny the Taken King, Halo 5 Guardians, Rocket League, and Splatoon. And the winner was, surprisingly, Splatoon.
Check it out.
Yeah, I was surprised mainly because I thought that Call of Duty was going to win. Number one, I was like, hands down, Call of Duty is going to win. Halo 5, people have been complaining about to some degree, and I haven't heard much in the media. Destiny is so divisive that people are, wow, I don't know about that one. I don't know if I really like Destiny, and, people hate it, people love it. And then there's Rocket League, and I thought Rocket League might have taken it because it's so big on all platforms, or at least on PlayStation and PC. So I was like, oh, it's either up against Call of Duty or Rocket League. But Splatoon won, a game that I have not played, obviously.
What I've been hearing from my buddy Brandon, designer of your logos and a member of the Self-Esteem team, he's been playing a lot of Splatoon because he just got his Wii U. And like from all this tactical gameplay and all these new ideas that I've been hearing, I'm like, oh, I definitely understand why like it got a game of the shooter of the year mention. It's just so unique and it's so awesome.
Multiplayer,
yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, definitely not surprising too much that it won. But, just seeing that I guess I'm probably just being biased because it's a Nintendo game and it's not nearly just going to reach the audience. But, I'm glad that if it deserves it, it deserves it. So, the next that I want to go through, I'm skipping a lot of these. Best fighting game was Mortal Kombat X. Best family game was Super Mario Maker. Best sports/racing game, which by the way kind of bothers me because I feel as though there are enough sports games and racer games that they should not be together. Rocket League won, which I believe should win. Out of FIFA and NBA 2K16. Sorry?
No, I get it.
Yeah, out of those games, Rocket League was played the most and is the most accessible and fun, I believe. The other ones are for kind of hardcore audiences. Forza, Pro Evolution Soccer, I think those are a bit more hardcore linear titles, where Rocket League combines a lot of those things and kind of makes it work. But the next one I really thought was interesting was Best Role-Playing Game, which had Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Pillars of Eternity, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and Undertale. Undertale is a kind of classic JRPG that is made by I think maybe singular person, but it's an indie team at least one person, but it's an indie studio that developed this game that is again very emotional. And I'm not surprised that it didn't win, but I'm glad to see that it was nominated. Really big deal that it was nominated. Obviously, Fallout was going to be on there. Bloodborne, I'm kind of surprised that they chalked it up as a role-playing game instead of just like an action game or something. Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that some other RPGs didn't get on there, but that's okay. Pillars of Eternity is definitely, it's an Obsidian game, and it is an RPG to its core. But The Witcher 3 is the one that won. It won Best Role-Playing Game, and I believe that it should have. By the way, fun fact: I now have The Witcher 3 here. I will be playing it this weekend, I believe. I think I may not. I may continue playing MGS 5 and a little bit of Black Ops, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
You're gonna dig it, man. I guarantee.
Yeah. I mean, I know. This is easily gonna be my game of the year. I'm sure of it. But we'll see how it plays.
Thank you letter, by the way, which you should read over.
Say it again.
They have a beautiful little insert where they thank each and every individual gamer for getting their game and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
I mean, I love CD Projekt Red. I mean, they're phenomenal. You know, a big actually piece of news that I didn't necessarily go over. We didn't go over news today, but CD Projekt Red just recently announced that they would like to see Cyberpunk. Was it 2077?
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 out by 2016, which is a huge deal. And I'm
awesome. That's another gigantic role-playing game by like this beautiful team.
I don't know how they plan on doing that, and I'm very excited to see how they're going to do it.
Probably a Skyrim Fallout thing where they were just making them at the same time and just released one and then the other.
Yeah, when you say Skyrim Fallout, you're talking about a team that has the backing of just years and years of experience and years and years of dollars, and their own engine and stuff like that. I don't know what engine The Witcher runs on. Actually, I kind of want to check that out if I can find it. The Red engine, that might be their own engine actually, but even so, I mean, the scale of those two companies are very different. But who knows? I would love to see where they're at in that process. Maybe we'll see it this E3. Who knows? Next, best action and adventure game. They have Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Batman: Arkham Knight, Ori and the Blind Forest, Rise of the Tomb Raider, and Metal Gear Solid 5: Phantom Pain. And rightfully so, Metal Gear Solid 5: Phantom Pain won. And I'm glad that one won. I think it is one of the best action adventure games. It takes you on a crazy ride, and the mechanics are phenomenal. Where I know a lot of people are tired of Assassin's Creed. A lot of things didn't work. And say it again.
Masterclass game.
Yeah, a lot of people got tired or didn't. Not everything worked in Batman: Arkham Knight. Ori and the Blind Forest. Definitely, I wouldn't say the most action-packed game, even though it is very technically sound. And then Rise of the Tomb Raider. I think people liked it, but I haven't heard too much about it. And I just think Metal Gear Solid: Phantom Pain should have won that. The next one that I think
here's the deal. When they announced that Metal Gear Solid 5: The Phantom Pain won, it wasn't Hideo Kojima-san that went up to grab the award. It was some PRs, and Kiefer Sutherland got up and gave the award. And then Jeff Keighley, the host, very off-key, off-script, Konami representatives and people were in the audience, and he said straight up, "You're probably wondering why Kojima didn't, because he is best friends with Kojima. I know that they're very, very close."
Kojima, by the way, is the director. He is everything to Metal Gear Solid. Metal Gear Solid, it would not exist without Kojima. It is a Kojima production, actually. The studio that develops this game is Kojima Productions. So,
well, they don't exist anymore because Konami disbanded them, and such a damn shame. Konami's been doing a lot of insufferable acts against Kojima and his faithful teams. They have been doing very cruel things to him. But this being one of them, what was I gonna say? Yeah, so he's like, you may have noticed that Kojima-san wasn't accepting your award. I know that Jeff Keighley and Hideo Kojima are very, very close friends. By the way, you wouldn't have these epic cinematics and games if it weren't for Hideo Kojima and his groundbreaking Metal Gear Solid 1 on the PS1. So, putting that out there. He said that Kojima accepted the invitation to attend the Game Awards. He was going to come and celebrate, but at the last minute he was approached by lawyers representing Konami, telling him that he was not allowed to attend and he was not allowed to accept his award. That is, in my opinion, completely atrocious. Completely atrocious.
Yeah, that was definitely interesting. I think a lot of people are making a huge deal out of it, and I don't know if to me it's not a huge deal. It's business. Something happened. We still don't even know what happened between Kojima and Konami, but something happened. Bridges were burned, and at some point Konami was like, "We don't want you involved," and we don't know why that is. We don't know what happened exactly or what's going on, but business happened. And that's what made things awkward, because Kojima and his game was not allowed to, he was not allowed to go up and accept his own game. And that was really unfortunate. I think it was nice that Kiefer went up and got it because it made it a little bit more relevant. And stuff like that. Yeah, right. And so I'm happy that happened. But
We don't know what happened, but just the face value of not letting a man and who directed this game or whatever, and then like his baby franchise just not accept this award that he's been saving over. That's just so unfortunate for what that represents. And the ex CEO of Square Enix, I don't know his name on here. He released a statement saying that what Konami's been doing recently over this past like couple of years and doing to Kojima and his teams has been quote unquote cool.
Yeah,
and,
I mean it's
not
stupid.
good burning these bridges, having the world hate them and stuff.
Right. As a Japanese company, Square Enix, they know very well you don't burn bridges.
Oh yeah.
That's a bad idea. And Kojima will be off contract soon, and someone will pick him up if he doesn't pick him. Sure, I'd like to hear your prediction.
We're gonna snatch him up, and he's gonna get his own studio.
PlayStation?
Yeah.
It's possible.
Can you imagine? Here's what I imagine. E3, this is, again, Sony has its single action army loaded up, and one of them, Kojima, comes on stage. And he's like, I want to show you my new game. Guillermo del Toro, Junji Ito, Hideo Kojima. It's not Silent Hills, but it's going to be a new horror game, and they're doing it together.
They could do it. I mean, it definitely could happen, and it would be interesting to see it. Granted, it's just as likely that Microsoft picks them up.
That is true. But just Kojima's very intimate history with PlayStation stuff, I'm just leaning towards there.
Yeah, fair enough. I would see him going more independent, right? I would see him go more third party, and then them paying for a game. Now that he does not have funding, and if he goes independent, people will give him, like PlayStation will say, we'll fund your next game.
Or Guillermo del Toro will just pay for everything.
Yeah, I mean, and again, that was something that people were saying, well, there was a lot of tension between Konami and Kojima because he was a diva, and he would ask for obscene amounts of money. We've talked about this before. Metal Gear Solid 5 is such a big game that it's concerning. It's such a high-value game that it's like, how much money did you spend on this? And so it does get a little concerning.
Almost the budget of Destiny, for what I've been hearing, and that's a big deal.
And remember that Destiny's budget was half marketing.
$100 million.
Yeah. And again, a large amount of that is marketing, not development. And so it'll be interesting to see where this goes. But anyway, don't want to spend a ton of time on MGS and Kojima.
Last 10 minutes to really talk about, the last nominee and then our Games of the Year.
Do you only have 10 minutes left in that room? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Okay. So we'll just talk about the ones that won these. They had, let's see, Best Shooter, which again very surprising, was Splatoon. So not only did it win Best Multiplayer, it also won Best Shooter.
Okay, I was right. Okay, I wasn't crazy.
Well, you were right, but you spilled the beans beforehand. Thanks.
My bad.
But in those again were against Call of Duty, Destiny, Halo, and Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront.
Extremely surprising.
Yeah, that was surprising for Best Shooter. Best Multiplayer, fine. Best Shooter, that was surprising. I'm gonna skip some of these other ones. Things that I think are important to recognize is Games for Impact, Life is Strange, which is a PlayStation game. So I thought that was a big deal. Best Performance was then Viva, cannot figure out how to say her name, Seifert maybe, in a game called Her Story. Best Narrative was by, let's see, again, Her Story, another game, the same game. Best Score was Metal Gear Solid, so best soundtrack, best music, Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain. Best mobile game, slash handheld games, Downwell, Fallout Shelter, Lara Croft Go, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, and Pac-Man 256. Lara Croft Go won. Best independent game was, if it opens up, Rocket League. Definitely thought that one should have won. And then Developer of the Year, CD Projekt Red, definitely should have won. And I, again, am very glad that won. and that was against Bethesda, From Software, Kojima Productions, and Nintendo. And lastly, of course, Game of the Year. These were the nominees: Bloodborne, Fallout 4, Metal Gear Solid 5: Phantom Pain, Super Mario Maker, and The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt. Did want to mention the fact that Bloodborne is a PlayStation exclusive, so that was always very exciting. And Super Mario Maker was a Nintendo exclusive, obviously, so it's nice to see exclusives hitting the Game of the Year. The Game of the Year was The Witcher 3: Wild Hunt. And which is why I'm so excited to have this game. I believe it will be my Game of the Year. But talking about the game,
I was just full on clapping because I was just like, "Yep, you totally deserve that title."
Yeah, and I'm glad that they got Developer of the Year as well. But talking about our Game of the Year, let's quickly go through our 5. What is your number 5 and number 4 Game of the Year for 2015?
Number 5 is Rocket League.
Nice.
Number 4. Oh my God, what was it? Do you remember?
No, you don't have a list for you?
No, I always had it up here.
Okay, well, next time. Bloodborne. Okay, all right. Bloodborne. Well, think about your 3 through 1 as I talk about my 5 and 4. My 5 was The Small Things, I call it, and it's basically just games that I got free on PlayStation Plus, which is Super Time Force and Super Meat Boy. Games that I really enjoyed that were smaller and I sunk a lot of time into, but nothing. There were no real big games that I really played a ton. Besides, what?
Because you're playing them now.
Right. Well, I mean, in terms of to take my 5th place. And so for my number 4, the game that I played the most this year that all of you know already is Blacklight. Retribution. It was my number 4 game, and that's because the amount of hours I sunk into it and the amount of time. It's what made me start my YouTube channel. So it is easily my game of 2015, even though it did not come out in 2015. Okay. Peaches, why don't you tell me your number 3?
Witcher 3.
Witcher 3. Nice. My number 3, again, not a game that came out in 2015, but, this version of the game did come out. Spoiler alert. Destiny, The Taken King. Beautiful game. Buy the game if you don't have it already, especially if you can find The Taken King on sale. It's 100% worth it, especially if you're starting from the very beginning. Peaches, what was your number 2?
Man, again, even today, they were switching around in my head, but number 2 is still Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
Nice. Okay. Notice that a lot of these games are ones that won the actual Game of the Year. A whole bunch of those different sections. MGS5 winning Best Action Adventure Game, for example. But my number 2 Game of the Year was Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which is like shots fired because I am not a Call of Duty fan. Usually, this is the first Call of Duty that I've ever really gotten into and enjoyed. And there is a campaign review coming up soon, so get ready for that. But it was my number 2 and did not win any awards this year, but did get nominated for about 3 different awards. So now, finally, Peaches, what is your number 1?
Farming Simulator? No. I'll always drop one in every podcast until it comes out. That's going to be Farming Simulator 17. Fallout 4, of course. Oh my God, what a game! What a game!
Yeah, I mean, we'd love to see maybe some gameplay of Fallout 4.
Oh yeah,
on the channel.
Thanks.
All right. So hopefully, guys, we get some Fallout 4 on this channel. I do not have the game, and I probably will not get the game until a while. Now that I have The Witcher 3, so hopefully
a lot to play, friendo. Get easy on Chain Gear. He needs time.
Yeah, I do need time because my Game of the Year was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, and I am still I'm now at 34%. So I have a lot of Metal Gear Solid 5 to play, and I am excited for it. And those are our Game of the Year. Again, just relisting them from bottom to top. The small things from PlayStation Plus, like Super Time Force and Super Meat Boy. Blacklight Retribution was my number 4. Destiny: The Taken King was my number 3. Call of Duty Black Ops was my number 2. And my number 1 was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Peaches, what was your top 5?
Number 1 was Fallout 4. Number 2 was Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. Number 3 was Witcher 3. Number 4 was Bloodborne. And number 5 is Rocket League.
Nice. All right. So you guys heard what our game of the year was. What was your game of the year? I would love to know what it is. We would love to hear it in the comment section below. And of course, guys, like this video if you like it, dislike it if you dislike it, and let us know what you guys are thinking in the comment section below. Subscribe for more awesome chain gear gaming content or new episodes of GearCast. Of course, you can always go back in the video logs to go ahead and check out some old episodes of GearCast. I promise you that they are still topical. And of course, share this all over the internet. That way everyone knows about PlayStation Experience and everyone knows about Game of the Year or the Game Awards 2015. So get ready for our next episode, guys. We will talk about some very topical things about PlayStation. So get ready for that. And of course, our Christmas episode as well, all about what we're excited for and what you guys are excited for next year. So that's it from us, guys. So we will see you online and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.